So a lot of students come to us hope and look to our MDA program as a bridge course for studying abroad. So typically they finish an undergraduate course in economics or finance from Mumbai University, and they come to us looking at our program as a 16th year, after which they apply abroad, typically to universities in the US and the UK. We certainly facilitate that kind of path for a lot of students. In fact, we already have sent students to very prestigious universities in both the UK and the US. In our first batch, we have a student who won a Shivling scholarship to study in Oxford's Blavatnik School of Government. In our second batch, we sent a student for a Masters of Finance program in Ohio State. And 3 students from our second batch have applied in the year after graduating from MDA, and all have secured admissions. One has secured admission into the master's program in economics and management at LSE. One has secured admissions into multiple programs, the MBA program at Oxford Said School of Business and University of Toronto's Rotman School of Business. And we also have a student this year from the second batch who has applied a year after she graduated from MDAE, who has got admission into PhD programs in economics at Rutgers University and George Washington University in the United States, and she's awaiting decisions from a bunch of other places as well. So clearly we do facilitate this kind of path for many students. We tell them, however, that they should perhaps wait for a year after they have graduated in order to apply for multiple reasons. One reason is that the most important thing in their application process is their letters of reference. And if they are able to submit a letter of reference written by somebody who has studied abroad, then that carries much more weight than submitting a letter of reference from somebody who has not studied abroad. But typically they will need a little bit of time to form contacts with such people. For instance, if they come to MDAE, they will encounter myself and other faculty who have PhDs from US universities, and we can certainly write them letters of reference, but it will take us almost 6 to 8, maybe even 12 months of experience with those students before we can write authentic letters of reference for these students. And so we typically tell those students to wait, to complete the year at MDAE, to take up a job, and then in the first or the second year of their job to apply for Masters or MBA or even PhD programs in the US. And as I just described, we already have 3 students from the second batch who have done just that. So there is another reason why students might want to wait for at least 1 year or 2 years after graduating from MDA before applying, and that is that it takes a little bit of intellectual as well as emotional maturity to really transition into the Western education system, which is very different from the undergraduate education system in India. Now, MDAE, the system that we have set up at the Meghnad Desai Academy of Economics, closely approximates a Western system, but it does take a couple of more years of perhaps work experience before the student becomes really ready to encounter the kind of education system that they will encounter in the West. And finally, a very important aspect of the application process is also going to be the statement of purpose that they write. And typically, if you have worked for a year or 2, you end up writing a much more authentic, a much more convincing, a much more persuasive statement of purpose than if you are applying straight out of school. So definitely MDA facilitates students' path from an undergraduate academic institution in India to a graduate level program in the US and the UK. And so students who are looking to MDAE as their 16th year of education should definitely consider checking out our program.